If you are joining me for the first time, please remember to click subscription button and hit that notification bell to be the first person to receive the video that will be produced by Davi-tech-media. Davi-tech-media, updating you. Davi-tech-media, subscribe to Davi-tech-media. Hey friends, welcome to Davi-tech-media, your number one news channel. I'm your host and producer Hichilema David. If you're really joining me for the first time, please don't forget to click that subscription button and that notification bell. Thank you for tuning in at Davi-tech-media. Remember, this is the channel that will produce news, trending videos, political news, gospel music, as well as entertainment. Today's update, please take a look at this video. Watch.
You see that there are things that are of greater challenges than the perception from outside. So you take in those issues as well and move on. Move on in the direction to help the country. Get it moving in the direction that will be valuable, will be useful to the people. Thank you.
Has that been the most surprising thing for you? The fact that you have found things that, like you said, before you walked into the office, there were things that you thought looking from a different glance, but now that you're in the office, you're seeing things that have surprised you a lot more than you thought. And does that then explain some people say it's slow, so I'll use what they say, the slow pace in which things are happening. And when I say things, I mean change, for example.
Not at all. I mean, it's just that it's a different way of working. Let me put it this way. For us, it's a different way of working from what an average Zambian has known for a long time, that governments go in there. Governments go in there, leaderships go in there and do run public affairs in the way they want, when they want to do certain things. We bring a different approach to public affairs management, bring an approach which may actually appear unusual. What do I mean? In the sense that we want to remain methodical, we want to remain organized, and sometimes it's viewed differently because citizens have been used to a lot of haphazardness, a lot of quick fixes, because we're looking at creating a base, a framework for solutions that will work for the people, not just in the short term, but in the medium term, in the longer term, and more importantly, even when we've left office. So that the value that we create now, we're creating, may not be seen by some people, but they'll see that value soon. Because some people see what they see through the eye. But we can see more than a human being is designed to see more than what the eye sees. It's a visioning part. It is an extrapolation part. It is the part that requires one to drive a country in a way, particularly a country, with a lot of stakeholders, shareholders, if you want to call them citizens, that have different needs, that have different challenges. So as a leader of a country with that diversity of needs and expectations, you want to bring all of those into the frame and manage the country, taking into account that you are managing for a broader base and the diversity that is there. And we're determined to do that, and sooner or later Zambians will see it in that way. But look, maybe it's important to step aside a little bit and simply say to the people of Zambia, we thank them for their enduring support. We thank them for delivering an election under very difficult circumstances, under most difficult of circumstances, I must say. And the people of Zambia were able to deliver a democratic change of government. And we must find a minute to express our appreciation to the people of Zambia for doing that. It is very, very important that we do that, and I'm doing that to the people of Zambia once again, as I've done before. We really appreciate what they did, placing us into this rare, I wouldn't say opposition, but opportunity to serve them and to serve them better. I think it's important for us to, before you round me around and knock me around, is to is to express that to the people of Zambia. And we want to say to them, we'll not let you down. We're doing things differently, but you will see a more straighter line from where you sit very soon. In fact, when we get to the detail of the conversation, I'm sure we'll see the basic things that we've already been able to do within under 1 month and 3 weeks. As we sit here, we've just been in office 1 month, under 1 month, 3 weeks. We're just getting to 1 month, 3 weeks. But for many, it looks like 6 months is 1 year. It's just 1 month, 3 weeks. If you see the things we've been able to do to try and bring order, to try and rein in on, ills of society, obvious ills of society. It's quite a bit, including other things we'll cover now. Very shortly, if you allow me to include in my opening remarks. Thank you.
Go ahead, if you want me.
Right, so I think it's important for me to since we're facing the public, first and foremost, Luchi, to say, when we were outside as an opposition, we made commitments to the people of Zambia. A number of commitments. Some call them promises. We don't call them promises. We made commitments to deliver what we consider as the bare minimum for our people. Bare minimum. One of the things that, we said we'll do is to rebuild the country from different angles. Law and order. I think that's the bare minimum. Who wants to be harassed in a marketplace? Who wants to be thrown out of a marketplace, a taxi rank, a bus stop, like you're a thief? Nobody. We said it before we took this role. We've done it. There will be lingering behavioral negatives. It's human, but we'll rein in on those. And Zambians must feel the freedom. And I believe what I hear is that they're feeling this freedom. And that's important. That's actually the barest minimum.
Am I allowed to interject?
Yes.
Okay. Just on the point that you just made. So we have these conversations and we ask the question, does the president know what's actually going on? And so one of the things you just said is this lingering and it's human nature.
Yes.
I understand that. But I think there is something that you need to know, and that is that there are situations, there are areas in this country where people are being victimized. There is this, now we are in power, we need to do what you did to us. That is still going on. There was a news item the other day in Choma, where there was a situation there. Again, I'm not sure whether that was brought to your attention. But how do you address those instances where members of your party have now begun to take the approach that you did this to us, so let's do this to you?
It's human. It's human for members of the UPND and our colleagues in the alliance, because the last 10 years, citizens were abused in many ways, violent ways. And our citizens knew some of the people who were harassing them by name, by location, in terms of where they live. It's only sometimes, depending on who you are and how you look at things, to say, this one took away my market store, so I'm going to do the same now. This one beat me, I'm going to do the same. I sympathize with those feelings, but I disagree with retribution. That's the starting point. And we're providing guidance to the nation that they ought to disagree with retribution, because there will be an endless situation. This group comes in, harasses those that exit. because they were harassed by those when they were in office. Where will this end? We are determined to end this. I think that's the starting point. Clarity in your mind that this is wrong. If it hurt me, and now I want to hurt someone else, then you are lying that it hurt you. Because if you are hurt, you want to end the hatred. Simple and straight. Luchi, I already preempted probably your question by saying there will be lingering behaviors, but from this seat that citizens of Zambia delivered us with the landslide, the youth in particular, they can count on this president that the president will rein in on these things. And the pronouncements have been made. There is reasonable stability. You really can't compare with what was going on at the time when those hooligans were beating people in Kulima Tower, in everywhere, intercity. You couldn't use the intercity back. The relative comparison is that there's calmness now. Freedom Day, Freedom Month, since we've done 1 month plus. It's Freedom Year, it's freedom forever. Now, to institutionalize that, Luch, we need the police to do their work because they are the ones who should maintain law and order. They've been given the political will, they've been given the direction from the executive. They are part of the executive, by the way. They ought to protect citizens. They should do that. But in doing that, we've also indicated very clearly that they must not abuse human rights. You get that? We get that? Because in maintaining law and order, you don't have to go out and beat savagely people, tear gas people, discharge live ammunition, as was the norm. People forget, it's only 60 days ago. 60 days ago, it was bullets at the High Court there. We have members with bullets in their bodies. And the hospitals couldn't attend to them. Now, we have said the hospitals must remove those bullets from their citizens. But in removing bullets from their citizens, we don't want citizens in the name of UPND to sink more bullets in other citizens' bodies. Not at all. That will not happen. It will not happen. Hear it from me. If it happens, then the law takes its course. That does not mean we don't like the UPND members. We love them, but we want them to do things within the law. And that again goes to the institutions that fight these things. Prosecution. If these transgressions where people shot other citizens, the law must apply. The law must. Let me be clear. If you were the one who shot Lawrence Banda in Kahoma, 10, 11 hours in the morning, the right thing to do is to hand over yourself to the police, because the police now must do their duty. They don't need my instruction, the president's instruction. I don't want to belabor this point to say, Luchi, there will be lingering behaviors. 10 years of bad behavior, 10 years of hooliganism cannot be healed in 1 month and 3 weeks. It will take a bit of time, but every time it rears its ugly head, it will be dealt with within the law with respect for human rights, liberties, and freedoms. I think that is the way we should approach this thing. And we shouldn't be singing songs, oh no, there was an instance in Choma. There will be instances in Lusaka right here.
And there was a High Court.
But we will rein in on those. But we will rein in on those issues. I think that's important thing. Clarity, law and order must apply, and law recognizes no political party. That's what our friends fail to do. Luchi, that's the leadership we are providing. That alone, to many people, once you have your freedoms, you can now trade as a woman, as a widow. You can hire a truck to move the tomatoes you've ordered from a farm in Chisamba to Soweto, and you land in Soweto, and you know there will be no thugs grabbing your tomato boxes and putting a price for you, and you lose money, you go back home, you have lost in that transaction. If any citizen is listening to this conversation and they are aware of such issues, please place a call here on this program and express your experience of these issues, and my team will take note of that. We will call that individual back after the program and make some remedial moves to protect citizens. First call we have is to protect citizens from internal threats. Of course, external enemies, we all know that. I don't have to waste time on that.
Yeah.
So I guess I have answered the question. Luchi, just being on this program, being on this program in office one month, 3 weeks, I had a press briefing, I think 2 weeks ago. Now we have this radio program. One of my colleagues, respected colleagues, after the flash went out, media flash went out that I'll be having this radio program, said, no, Mr. President, don't do it. Because the PF and opposition are lining to embarrass you. I said, I'm not here, I'm not working for the PF. Yes, they're citizens, but I'm working for all the citizens, not the PF. And we should not be walking away from our commitment because opposition, Luchi, will say things or to embarrass you. There is no basis for embarrassing anyone. If a person makes a call that is aggressive, that is abusive, it's up to them. And the citizens will judge, the listeners will judge as to whether this call makes sense or it doesn't make sense. But it is part of the commitment. Luchi, I may remind you that I was appearing on your program, Radio Phoenix. Yes. And I said, once we form government, we will change the culture. The president has to speak to the citizens directly. And this is it. I made a commitment, I have fulfilled.
And I'm grateful that you've honored it.
Thank you, I've honored.
Yes.
You are too quiet. You must say it loudly. I think it's you who interviewed me.
It is me.
What did we discuss that time? Let's have a conversation.
No, I mean, we had many discussions, me and you.
On this one?
On this particular
Appearing.
one. Yes, we agreed that if you did win, which you did, which
I used to tell you when we
when you win.
I
exactly.
used to tell you when we win.
And you said to me, that one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to appear on Phoenix, and I'll allow as many people to call in. And I said, here's what this is the truth, this is what I actually said to you. I said to you, I've heard this before from others, but what tends to happen is when they do win, you never hear from them again.
So, what did I tell you, Rich? I said I'm different.
Yes.
I said we're cut from a different cloth. And here I am. Without concern of anyone who is planning to go to embarrass, that's their responsibility. I have my responsibility. To who? To the people. So if you have a pen and paper, you start ticking the things we committed we'll do. This is one you tick, that I have fulfilled it. This is twice in 1 month, 3 weeks. But this is the way, in my view, it should be. How can you be in a public office at this level for 10 years, for 5 years, 10 years, and you don't hear the people directly? Everything can be said. Remember, in this office, there are people around here who think their job is to protect the president from hearing and knowing what people are saying. I'm not one of those presidents. No, not at all. So, tick that box. Okay. Commitment, this is only the beginning or second. But also, what else did we say? Around here, Logic, we said that the media will not be guarded. The media will be protected. The media will self-regulate, because there was issues around media regulation, restricting the freedom of the media. Media is the fourth estate, and we've lived by our word by getting the media to regulate themselves. Get on with the work, regulate yourselves. We are all waiting. The ball is in your court now. And I'm surprised that the media is reasonably quiet when for years you could not have this opportunity. Now you have it. So regulate yourselves, be professional, be fair, facts matter, because you can destroy people who are innocent. I'm a victim of that, which, as you know, the most discriminated, the most arrested, the most abused, and some media organizations ran a campaign against HH. No, HH is a Masonist. I have no idea what Mason means. HH is a whatever. I have no idea. Anything, isms were thrown at me by the media. Self-regulation means being responsible and being accountable to yourself, to the people, to the public, by simply being professional. Tell the truth. The truth doesn't hurt. Tell the truth. Be balanced. You can't scream headlines without the subject being hurt. So I think I'm not preaching how you should behave. I'm simply saying responsibility is important. And someone says, oh, hey, church, you're going to create a problem. Because now there will be an avalanche of negative media. I said, no, there are laws already that will regulate excesses, even for the media. So I think responsibility is what we're talking about. And I wish, Luch, you had played that conversation. I just wished you had played that conversation, and then you would have said, now here we are, based on that conversation. But
actually,
you are the boss, that's important.
So I just want to, I want to just one thing on this point, and then I want to allow as many people to speak to you.
Yeah.
So
just one or two things we state.
Okay, all right. So you also said, one of the things you committed to me was that you would have continuous engagements. Is that something that you're still committed to? So is that a quarterly, is it monthly? What does that look like?
I think between the media, let's just get organized, because even getting you here as Phoenix has made a few media houses unhappy. Now, this is something we want to grow out of. At a particular engagement, I can only be hosted by one media organization. But if the media organizations organize themselves that simultaneously like this, you will have 2, 3, 4 radio stations, television stations. You agree that there will be one moderator and a second moderator. If you want a third one from different media organizations at the same function like that, you see the extra chairs there. 1 or 2 other interviewers or moderators who have sat here. I have no problem with that. But learn to work together in complementarity. Sometimes people always think of competition. My mind works different. Because I come from a professional home. First, I come from the village where we lived as a community. You realize the value of the person next to you. As hunters, young boys, someone runs faster than you, and when you go out hunting, you want the guy who runs faster to be in front of you, so that the chances of taking meat home is high. But someone raises something you don't know, because you didn't grow up in the village, raises dogs better. There is an art in raising dogs. And so you want the guy that raises dogs better, who know how to catch. Those were those days. These days we don't want to do those things, animal cruelty, right? But you work with that guy so that, again, you have a chance of having something for the meal. So work as a media, organize yourselves. How do you want this to be done? The team in State House will work with you to actualize the regular engagement by composition of the media, or alternating that this time it's this media house hosting, next time it is another station. So that by this hosting, Luchi, after that you don't get calls that, how come, Luchi, you are favored by HS? Not at all. I didn't organize this. You organize it with our staff here. And that's the way it should be. Regularity, you decide. But let's do it in a fair way.
Okay.
The president can't be on this program every week, every month. Maybe quarterly. I'm only suggesting maybe quarterly, maybe whatever time. Let's agree, we'll be there.
Okay.
But also there are occasions where you will be able to interview the president frequently. Last week we had a COVID-19 relaunch, and it gave the opportunity to the media who were there to engage. And we will be having such functions going forward. So all I want to say to your colleagues in the media, that they will have their shot, and the public will have their shot. Let me also say something very briefly, that we also want to be able to have a situation if the president, when the president, not if, when the president is on the copper belt, we can have a media engagement on the copper belt, so that the people of the copper belt feel much better that we are also open to them. So will be the media in the provinces, in Chipata, Breeze FM, in wherever else, Radio Liseli in Mongu, any. So, but let's be organized. Because you are dealing with an organized president, let's be organized ourselves. Then it's easier to do things. Would you allow me to say one or two things?
Can I? Because the idea here is that it's an open line forum with you, and I think let me at least allow the first 3 questions that I have on text.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I do a deal with you?
Okay.
Just
Let's do a
spend
deal.
2 minutes.
Okay.
Just to say a few things.
Okay.
That will probably contextualize the questioners.
Okay.
Allow the questioners to raise things that I think are of vital importance.
So the deal is 2 minutes.
Yes, 2 minutes,
2 3
minutes. You see, let me comment on 1 or 2 key issues. Again, driven from our agenda before we formed government. Very important, in my view. What are we doing? What did we come to do? What brought us into public office? It's a ticket of change, Luchi. Change meaning what? Change to drive the economy, to reconstruct the economy. That's a flagship. That's a flagship. Reconstructing the economy for what? To reconstruct the economy to create opportunities for our people in an equitable way. Jobs, business, opportunities, to do business, even just to trade in the market, like I described earlier, freedom to be able to trade in the market. And no one should beat you, because that's your right. And we've talked about that happening. To access health services, to access education, education for all. Again, this is one where some colleagues are saying, HH and you've been overpromised. We did not overpromise. We made no overpromising, no promise. Education for all is a bare minimum. Everybody who has intellect, even those that have parents have no resources, our agenda on the road, our eyes are set there, is that we should give them opportunities to go to school, just like I did. That's not overpromising. But we are also saying that we will be smarter, Luchi, in the sense that in delivering education for all, we will discriminate positively. What do I mean? We will change the system. We are working to change the system. Not we will. We are working to change, because we're in office now. We're working to change the system that even the current bursary system must be improved and loan system must be improved so that the beneficiaries are from families that are stressed, that cannot afford. Not the beneficiaries being HH's children. No, my children must not be in the queue. They must stand aside because HH can take care of them. That leaves space for a child from Ngombe, Chiprukusu, Kashinakashi, Mungomba, Mutomena, Sishekano, and all of those places. That's the point. We must contextualize and understand what we're saying, education for all, indeed is education for all. And when we go to those children who are vulnerable, who are orphans, who are from lower, struggling families, I hate the word lower, struggling families, because no one is lower than another. Inherently we are all equal, but financially, economic circumstances. There, someone will say, how will you deliver that? It's simple. The delivery of which child should get a facility, if there are 10 amongst that category that deserve it, Ruchi, the one who is first in the queue is the one with the best results in that category. We've removed those who can afford, their parents can afford. Now we go to those who deserve it. If there's a limitation over time as we grow the economy, then the first priority will go the brightest. Just hang on a little bit, Rich, to the brightest child. That's how it was under county. We went for national service, and then there was military, there was production. You could be there for a number of months, the minimum 6 months. You got out of the camp, military camp, like I did, because when your results came, you got a distinction, and the acceptance for UNZA came. With that acceptance came automatically the bursary. Many people didn't know that was a positive discrimination amongst those who deserve a bursary. It's not different until we're able to bring more numbers on board, and probably even university education, secondary school. That is not overpromising. Let me move away. I see you want to challenge.
This is very hard because I wanted to make a point about this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so in 5 years from now, is the idea to have free education from grade 1 going forward, or is it still based off merit, how vulnerable, where you come from? Is that what's the thinking here?
I've explained, Luchi, our approach. Let's use the right word. Yeah. Education for all.
Okay.
That's the right word.
So it's not free education. So it's not free education.
There's a free component in there. Okay. I'm just
no,
saying.
Because people, people are literal. People are very literal.
The word
if in the campaigns you said free education, and then you flip it and say education for all, the thinking is, he's gone back on his words.
No. It is what is called, if the resource envelope is limited, you do prioritization. That is what you do in your house. If there's a child who is less talented in the house, you spend a bit more on that child than the one who is talented and is flowing in school, isn't it? It's positive discrimination. Discrimination maybe is a bad word. It is equity. It is fairness on recognition of who needs what. All the children need education. But we remove those that can move on without the state. When I got a government bursary, I want to remind you that at UNZA, there were students sponsored by the mines. There were students sponsored by the parents that time, and the county. Remember, we respect the county time, me and others. Even that, what I'm saying was there. What we're saying is not different. So please, let's not be verbose and begin to create issues that don't exist. Those who like to talk that language are the ones who want to say, the UPND and its partners overpromised. The UPND wishes to deliver the barest minimum to society, including education, health, as it were. Let me just finish off this, and then we can engage, maybe, if you wish. Let me indicate that this is a parameter, this is a platform we elected in. To do this, to deliver change, opportunity for our people equitably in many ways, we have to deal with a couple of things. These things, because they affect our ability to deliver. These things include managing the COVID-19 pandemic. Because if we don't bring COVID under control, it will constrain our ability to deliver on the change platform for the jobs that we need to create for the youth. Because the economy will not be freely open and flexible, and investments won't come. Remember, we were on the red list, and we worked very hard. It's another deliverable now. We worked very hard, appointed the COVID advisor, who is seated in this room. There was never anything like that. So that we raised the fight against COVID to State House level and push it working with the ministries, line ministries, health, education, the frontliners, right? We have made a lot of progress there. Luchi, COVID advisor, I talked about that in the campaign, is here. Now we have relaunched the COVID, vaccinations, but masking must continue. You're doing a good job. Masking must continue. And other issues of science, guided by science. But more importantly, manage the resources properly so that we can bring COVID under control. If you check in Europe, look at the tennis matches, Europe, America. Now people go to the stadiums are filling up now. And if you check, very few people have masks. Why? Because they've been vaccinated. So when we vaccinate our people, we have a chance to reopen the economy. We have a chance to create jobs. We have a chance to save lives. Even if we may be challenged in terms of health service care delivery system, oxygen, and other things. Fourth wave may be coming. We're getting ready. So we relaunched more vaccines. Our trip to New York, Washington, is following behind us 1.6 million vaccines, which we were able to negotiate that week we were in the States. This is what this presidency is all about. Delivering for the people, saving the lives of the people, then we can have a chance in the economic area. So managing resources, very important. So I encourage people to vaccinate. We are vaccinated, my wife, my children are vaccinated. Please, let's do it. Save the next person the person next door to you. Rule of law, we talked about it. Absolute must. And we'll be relentless on this. Including what I'll get on, the fight against corruption. No sacred cows, past corruption, present, future. It's challenging, it's risky, our minds are clear. Recovering assets, you see movements there, but we had to put the anchors around there to make sure that the loopholes are sealed, to make sure that what you saw a few days ago, when a matter goes to court, the prosecution will be ready. It should not be happening. But again, old habits linger on. We are raining on that. What else? What else? What else? The issue of decentralization, which taking money, devolution, taking money to the citizen. The budget in our country every year, citizens didn't know. All these years, which when it was budget time, everyone told, government before us told citizens that wait for the budget. But they knew that in that budget, there were only two items: debt service, public sector emolument. There was really nothing else for citizens. The first budget we're putting in place, we are bringing devolution, decentralization at the center. Moving money from the thieves in the urban centers, the few that are privileged to occupy public office. As you will see when we start asset recovery, huge monies, gluttonous behavior. People, one person will take millions of dollars. You will see that. We've been working methodically, and when the results start showing, you'll be very pleased with us. And we learned the lessons of the task force time, where there was little recovery. This time we are focusing on retrieving the money, then allocating it to where it's needed most, including education, health, other areas, youth support, right? Very important. But the youth must know that we have to do these things first in order to create resources. Now we have a budget, you will see first budget of the UPND is 2022. Even what we are doing now, we are doing them outside the budget, because the budget is a PF budget up to December. That's the truth. And citizens need to know that. And this budget will now move some resources gradually upwards to the center, to the not to the center, to the local areas away from the center, so that the woman, my loved example, a woman doesn't have to walk 5 kilometers with a bucket of water here, 20 liters, a child at the back, firewood here, 5 kilometers to and fro from collecting water. Now the decision will be made at the local level. We want a borehole here, but the borehole must be done at the right cost. That's what we're doing. We are also working on ensuring that communities, when they receive the resources, they don't become the new thieves in the village. Accountability. We had a meeting right here with the Auditor General. And the Auditor General will be auditing districts now, where the constituencies are, where the money is going. But the important thing I must have said, we are changing the procurement guidelines. 3 rules. 1, whatever you buy, public sector must be lower cost, right cost. 2, quality must be good, not these cheap roads you are seeing all over. 3, deliver on time. But when we now move the money to the localities, we will also give guidelines on how that money must be used so that it's not wasted, but delivering for the immediate needs, including, my friend, contracts will be given for that devolution-related money to the local suppliers of goods and services. So the youth, I want to address the youth. They are the opportunities. Now in your constituents where you are, you'll have an opportunity to tender for construction of a teacher's house, right in the constituency. The money will be there, rather than the situation that is there, Luchi, where the contractor to build one classroom, one teacher's house comes from a school in Chama, a contractor comes from Lusaka. And in the past, that was a party card. You know what I'm talking about. You know it very well. If it wasn't that, it was a foreigner. In Chama kwa Kambombo, wafika muntu, aoneka different. Even understanding the local issues doesn't. But that's how the system works. We're changing all of that. We are in office now, and we're determined to do that. It will put money in the local areas, a lot of money, over a 5-year period. First time in the history of this country, which we will have a national budget being debated here, alongside we will have a constituents budget in the council chambers being debated for those local priorities: water, health, education, youth fund, women fund, including happy, Luchi, a scholarship fund at the local level in the constituents, where the brightest child, again from the poorest family, will get a scholarship from a constituents fund. Never done before in the history of this country. This is what we're doing. And Zambians may not be seeing it now, they will see it starting next year, because that's the first budget we are controlling. And I'm just about to close here. The benefits of this are obvious. Local involvement, local procurement, youth opportunity, women opportunity, children opportunity, including where we are going, Lochi. I had a meeting, not here, in the other room yesterday, with the Law Association of Zambia. And the last team, led by the President, Shonga, said, Mr. President, we're so delighted with your devolution decentralization policy. We heard what you're doing. We also don't want to be left out. Can you create a district attorney and take the legal services for the people to the district, so that at the district center, there will be, subject to many things and time, a district attorney. The courts must work at the district. People don't have to queue in Lusaka, coming from a different location, following a magistrate, following a high court. All those things must go. It will be a transformation. It will be, and I'm saying it will be, because we've started the first step to allocate the resources. Now, what else would I want to say? Debt. Debt management is very important to us. Very, very important. Because I told you 2 items: choke the budget, debt plus public sector pay. If we leave the debt as the way it was accumulated by our colleagues, we say they were wrong when we were in opposition. We are even convinced more that they were wrong. I don't know what the hell they were doing. Right? Now we're in office, we can't continue the blame game. We are saying we are putting in place a debt management program to rein in on the debt, to release resources from debt service and amortization and take it to the people. That's what we're doing. And there's a lot of great things that we're doing here. And people have talked about, on another matter, Luchi, the issues relating to the pace of making appointments. We're studying things, looking at things, checking. The road of corruption has touched so many people, involved so many people. You try and move in this direction, you realize, oh, there's a black spot on that one. Move away from them, because you put them in that office soon, they will be the first guys to exit office, because the new corruption will even be tougher than old corruption, because it will be under our eyes. It will not happen where a person is involved in corruption and continues in office, goes to the court with the ministerial car and cadres. It will not happen. I'm saying it will not happen. Now I can be definitive. It will not happen. So we're doing all of those things, assessing. And I said to people last time we had a press briefing there, I said, you want to be a permanent secretary in the UPND and the Alliance government, search yourself. Because some of them want to be permanent secretaries to continue doing what those who have gone were doing. Procuring a pen, which costing 2 kwacha, 20 kwacha. I asked one procurement officer, I said, come and talk to me. He came home. I said, why are you guys buying pens at 20 kwacha? He said, Mr. President, it's a systemic problem. The stealing is all over, across. Because this pen, someone has to give a contract. To give a contract, someone has to have a share. What? This is what's been going on 10 years. He said, yes. So a pen for 2 kwacha is sold for 15 kwacha, 20 kwacha. How many pens do you buy on average in your area? 1 million. 1 million pens? So 18, let's say 20 kwacha, take a number. This is illustrative. 20 kwacha, less 2 kwacha. 18 kwacha money from the taxpayer, from a child, an orphan who should go to school, has gone to somebody's pocket. He said, yes. 1 million pence by 18 kwachas, 18 million kwacha. Just 1 pence. Smallest number. That will not happen. So in placing people, which we are looking at how vulnerable people are they capable to walk the talk? Yes, come through. But also on another side, this is not a military coup. We did not come through a military coup to clean out everybody, because some people can be managed as long as we get the systems in place. Because a military coup, you can shunt out everyone, because everything ceases. The government doesn't cease, it moves on. By the way, if you go to Sikanze police station, the average view was that police officers were OPF, isn't it? But how come HH1 in Sikanze police station? It means that in the police system, people want to change for the things I'm talking about. Okay. So I want to end here and say, patience does help. Yesterday we made changes after reviewing, after checking methodically and lining the ducks in a row, making sure that the ministers came first, diversity, unity, reunifying the country. All the problems are on the table, the PSs are coming through, the boards are going one by one, and then within a short time before you realize that, because 3 months is a short time. It's called short term, isn't it? 3 months, 4 months, it's short term. I know a president in another African country, a big African country with 250 million people, who never appointed a minister after they formed government for 6 months. I know. I don't want to mention them. You can do your own research. It is 1 month, 3 weeks. We are on track. I understand the anxiety that people have. I understand. Okay. They are in a hurry. They expect the UPND government to drop the legal changes. We will do that. But we are methodical. We are organized. We want to reduce the mistakes that we're making. But at the same time, making sure that we understand, and people who are being appointed understand the environment. So yesterday we pushed in, ZESCO board is gone. And the next move is not. It is not. Anyone who is logical and clever knows what is happening next. Indian board is gone, Zambia Railways is gone, Zamtel is gone. Today or tomorrow you see more that are going. Now we have put the handles in place. We now understand that that move there will have this impact. But if we don't push the 3 rules of procurement, proper cost benchmarking, no overpricing, right? Deliver quality, deliver on time. The new people we put in office will do exactly what those who have gone were doing. The bleeding will continue. Zambians being deprived of services will continue. We are reining in on all these variables. That's what you say that, what did you find? I've now told you what we found, and we are determined to do the right thing for the people of Zambia. I think you have been kind enough to me.
I have, because you said
Thank
2
you.
or 3 minutes, but
Thank you very much.
it can never be 2 or 3 minutes with you.
Thank you very much.
I just want to, just this point, and then the longer you take, do you not worry that files are being deleted, that things are being done to hide? You don't worry at all?
It's possible to do that. Yeah. It's possible to do that. The good news is that if you are buying something, you don't buy it from your left pocket to put it in your right pocket. You will have talked to somebody. You will have dealt with somebody.
Thank you very much for tuning in at Davi-tech-media. Remember, Davi-tech-media is the media that shares news, trending videos, political news, gospel music, as well as entertainment. Please don't forget to click that subscription button and that notification bell to be the very first person to receive the video that will be produced and posted by Davi-tech-media. Davi-tech-media, updating you.